work on the circulation of the light depends entirely on the backward flowing movement, so that the thoughts, the place of heavenly consciousness, the heavenly heart, are gathered together. The heavenly heart lies between sun and moon, that is, between the two eyes. The book of the Yellow Castle says, now visualize this, just follow it. It's so self-explanatory that you can't miss it. In the square inch field of the square foot house, life can be regulated.
How could you miss that?
The square foot house is the face, the square inch field in the face. What could that be other than the heavenly heart? All right, that's got to be the pituitary. The square inch field in the square foot. Any problem with that? Is that straightforward? In the square inch field of the square foot house, life can be regulated. All of us learned in high school biology that the pituitary, the master gland of the body, it regulates the whole body. The square inch field in the face, what could that be other than the heavenly heart? From now on, when the text uses the heavenly heart, keep in mind we're referring to this center, the pituitary. In the middle of the square inch, that is, in the pituitary, dwells the splendor. In the purple hall of the city of jade dwells the God of utmost emptiness and life. The Confucians call it the center of emptiness.
Look at the comparisons here. They're beautiful, right? One great religious group after another.
The Buddhists, the terrace of living, the Taoists, the ancestral land, or the yellow castle, or the dark pass, or the space of former heaven. The heavenly heart is like the dwelling place. The light is the master.
Herb, let me read them, a couple of the references in the readings that, to me, speak to this business right off. The psychic forces, or the spiritual forces, which are psychic forces, there has always been a portion of the anatomical forces of the body through which expressions come to individual activity. While these expressions may find various forms of manifestation, that's your outer psychic businesses, or movements, their seat is the creative energies and the forces of the body. Let thine eye be single, he says, may be interpreted, may be the interpretation of the same. And you remember that passage goes on, let thine eye be single and thy whole body will be full of light. And we go back to that biblical reference and the light reference here. Or, as might be said, let the creative power rise to the higher spiritual centers, the pituitary forces, as from the Leiden, or cells of Leydig, and others, see. Now here is a direct reference to the movement from the cells of Leydig to the center that we're talking about, this heavenly heart, the pituitary center. And it can be instantaneous. And then as that floods over, then you get the experience of it cleansing and healing as the energy flows back down, and that's the process of the meditative kind of business that we're talking about here. That's 262-20. The next one, development in the spiritual sense by meditation and prayer is dependent upon the creative, the soul or spiritual energy trapped in the body, rather than upon that which is wholly of the material. This brings about what may be termed psychic development of individuals. That's 262-20 also.
The heavenly heart is like the dwelling place. The light is the master. When we refer to the pituitary as the master gland and the highest center and all of that, we're not saying that that is God or the Christ. And the next paragraph makes this very clear. Therefore, when the light circulates, the energies of the whole body appear before the throne, as when a holy king has established the capital and laid down the fundamental rules of order, all the states approach with tribute, or as when the master is quiet and calm, men, servants, and maids obey his orders of their own accord. You see, the body knows how to function. It's just the establishment of the regnancy or the rulership. Once the spirit, once the ideal of the Christ is clearly established as the ruler, then all of the other organs of the body and functioning or behavior can go quietly about its work, working in an orderly manner. But there must be that. It's not as though that rulership sort of runs around all the time telling everyone else what it ought to be doing. See, once its rulership is established, then the rest of the body, men servants and maid servants, can go quietly about their work.
You know, Herb, recently in our study group, which meets on every Wednesday, One of our assignments was to each one of us take one of these glands and talk about it. I mean, the physical functions of it. And it would be so profitable for you to get a hold of a text or two, physiology, on the functions of the endocrines, and just look at a few of the controls of these centers and how they operate, and the controls that you'll understand this sentence so much better here of the maids and the master and being calm, and the maid servants obey, and everything goes about it. If these things did not function, you could not live 1 second. You would come apart, and when they get out of kilter, you know it, really, immediately. You know, even though you've got some of these glands, they function so quietly and easily and go right on with their business. But let one of them get a tumor on it, and you go nuts within hours and come apart completely. They are the master control centers, and we're operating through them. Now, meditation is actually a cleansing process here of these centers. But it's got to move and come down, and then it begins to clean up all the debris. You can wipe out anything, physical or karmic. Remember, quickly.
Now, one of the reasons some people are uneasy about talk about glands is because you may have had some glandular difficulty, perhaps surgery, or you used endocrine therapy. We're talking really about the system, and not just about a center. There's a parallel between this functioning of the system and the localized functioning of the brain. All of the early students of the physiology of the brain were looking for exact location of a certain activity. Where in the brain, what part of the brain is responsible for this activity and this and the other. And they did surgery. They would think they'd located the place, they would excise that portion, and then, sure enough, that related function would be missing. But then within a matter of weeks or months, that function would reappear. And so what they had difficulty understanding is that the brain works in a more flexible way, and when a portion is removed, another portion can pick up on those responsibilities. So there are many reasons why you must not let this talk about the glands disturb you if you have had some difficulty with them. The main reason is, although we're talking here about these as spiritual centers, they're really representatives of the spiritual centers, which are in the flesh body. There are the spiritual centers, and then there are correlates in the body. And these that we're referring to with these anatomical terms are the correlates. Or one other way I like to dramatize this point is, the 7 centers are the storehouses of karmic memory. Don't think because you've had one removed by surgery, you've gotten rid of that karmic pattern. Let's take a break.